What's up, my beautiful bros? Maine-iac here with 2018 trade deadline update. Now, something that's interesting here is I want to go back to the last trade I didn't cover, and I do apologize for that. But February 1st, the New Orleans Pelicans received Nikola Mirotic and a second-round pick of 2018 from the Chicago Bulls for Omer Osik, Tony Allen, Jameer Nelson, 2018 protected first-round pick, and rights to swap the second-round picks in 2021. I like this. It adds more big man presence for the New Orleans Pelicans, which they need without DeMarcus Cousins for the rest of the year. I think it was a good move. I like it. I rate this kind of like a B, B minus kind of move. He can play power forward, small forward. Move Anthony Davis to center, which you'd probably expect anyway. The Bulls get the Nikola Mirotic contract away. They get an extra first-round pick, which will help them rebuild. They got some other talent, which is not too bad, but the talent's not the most important thing for them to get. It's that pick. Then you have this February 5th, the Bucks send pick Rashad Vaughn to the Nets for Tyler Zeller. The Bucks getting Tyler Zeller, I like it. It provides additional depth at the center position, something they really haven't had since Greg Monroe left, since they traded him, but they did get good worth from Eric Bledsoe out of that Monroe trade. So now you have Bledsoe, Giannis, and Zeller instead of just Giannis. I keep pronouncing his name wrong, I apologize. The Nets getting Rashad Vaughn provides them some more guard depth. I like it. Dinwiddie is playing well. He needs a better combo right there. They also get a 2018 protected second round pick, so it's not too bad. Zeller wasn't ever going to be anything much in the Nets organization. He wasn't going to propel them to the playoffs, so getting a second round pick at least back is nice. As you can see, stars like Kyle Kuzma of this year was drafted in the second round. IT was drafted with the last pick of the draft, back when he got drafted. So you can get good talent in the second round. It'll be interesting to see how they use that. Then February 7th, the Hornets and Knicks agreed to a Hernan Gomez deal. I like Willie Hernan Gomez. He's a solid backup center. He gives Dwight Howard a little bit more rest opportunities. He's a good presence on the boards. He scores quite well. He had a great year last year, but the Knicks weren't nearly utilizing him well enough this year. It was really confusing to watch, really confusing to see. And I think one reason why they struggled so much. The Knicks get forward Johnny O'Brien, which I don't think he's going to do much there, but they get 2 future second-round picks to maybe trade those away or help a rebuild with some young talent. Like I said before, you can pick up some good talent in the second round. I give that one maybe a B minus right there because both teams don't really improve too much. And then you have another trade that just Yeah, the Miami Heat get Luke Babbitt forward from the Atlanta Hawks, and the Hawks get forward Okaro White for the Miami Heat. I think this helps the Heat out a little bit more, but either way, it's still trade. Maybe this helps the Heat stay in contention. And then, yeah, one of the better trades, I think, so far. And an interesting trade indeed because, as I said before, the Chicago Bulls received point guard Jameer Nelson from the New Orleans Pelicans when they traded for Nikola Mirotic. And the Detroit Pistons received center Willie Reed when they traded for Blake Griffin. Now, those trades come back, and the Detroit Pistons get point guard Jameer Nelson. Well, I'm using the ESPN app to read these trades off, and it says point guard Jameer Nelson, and Chicago Bulls get Willie Reed, and they basically trade second round picks. I like this because out of the Blake Griffin trade, you basically get Blake Griffin and another solid point guard to pair with Reggie Jackson. Even if he's coming off the bench, Jameer Nelson will be a solid presence on that second unit in Detroit and could make him a contender for that 4th or 5th seed in the East. The Bulls getting Willie Reed adds some more depth at center, big man position. Getting that Detroit second round pick is not really that like, hey, yay. They could have just kept the second round picks, but they threw them in anyway. Willie Reed does provide a little bit of board power, but he's going to have to prove himself a little bit if he wants to stick around in Chicago. And then the Grizzlies trade James Ennis, to the Detroit Pistons for power forward Bryce Johnson. I like this trade. It gives a slightly bigger presence to the Memphis Grizzlies, who were surprisingly inactive today on the trade deadline. And this gives the Pistons more or less size, I should say. They didn't really need too many power forwards when they have Blake Griffin there, except for if he gets hurt, that might bite them. But they needed improvement at small forward, and even if it's just off the bench, pairing him with Jameer Nelson or Reggie Jackson will be, I think, pretty good basketball to watch. And then you have possibly the blockbuster trade of the day. The Cavaliers just unloaded and reloaded and just unloaded again. The Cavs continue to reload with a 3-team deal. The Cleveland Cavaliers get shooting guard Rodney Hood and point guard George Hill. The Utah Jazz get point guard Derrick Rose, forward Jay Crowder, and the Sacramento Kings get Joe Johnson, Iman Shumpert, and a 2020 second-round pick via Miami. Now, breaking it down, the Jazz give away George Hill and I believe Joe Johnson. And I believe the Kings give away Rodney Hood. I'm not sure exactly who came from where. I do apologize. But the Cavs acquiring Rodney Hood and George Hill improves their guard play, especially trading away Derrick Rose and trading away Dwayne Wade, but you'll see that in a second. I like that. The Utah Jazz getting Jay Crowder gives them a super solid forward presence. After losing Gordon Hayward, they haven't really had too much forward power there. He hasn't been consistent in Cleveland as of yet, but with maybe more playing time in Utah, we could see there. Now, Derrick Rose might be a buyout candidate in Utah, or they might play him as a backup, but we'll have to see how that handles. Sacramento Kings get some solid depth with Joe Johnson and Iman Shumpert, and that second-round pick's looking nice. I'm not going to say it's definitely not going to make the Kings contenders, but it should make them some interesting basketball to watch. And then you have the Cavaliers again trading Dwayne Wade to the Miami Heat for a second-round pick, a protected second-round pick, I should say. Now, what I do like about this is it sends Dwayne Wade back where he should have been this whole time. I guess someone from the Miami Heat said back when Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh were free agents, he should have offered them both max contracts, but for some reason he was hesitant, but now he comes back. But in the unloading of the reloading variety for the Cavaliers, because they were very active today. Very, very, very active considering they're supposed to be a championship contender. The Los Angeles Lakers get point guard Isaiah Thomas and power forward Channing Frye and Cleveland's 2018 first-round pick protected. Now, this is not the pick they received from Boston in the Kyrie Irving trade. This is their own first-round pick, which is not going to have much value. It's going to be probably around 28, 29. The Cleveland Cavaliers get Jordan Clarkson and power forward Larry Nance Jr. What I like about this is it definitely gives the Cavaliers more depth. They didn't like what Isaiah Thomas was doing defensively, so having Jordan Clarkson instead does give him more of a presence on defense, does give him more energy where he is 25 years old, and it should give him definitely that energy that they've been lacking. And getting Larry Nance Jr., who hasn't been too stunning with the Lakers, gives them a solid young defensive presence on the bench. Definitely solidifying that second unit of the Cleveland Cavaliers is extremely important. And with George Hill now on the Cavaliers, he could very well be their starting point guard. Who knows? We'll have to see. It was weird, though, to see the Cleveland Cavaliers get 3 guards this offseason. They're like, oh, yeah, these 3 guards, they're awesome. And then just trade all 3 away. And then the Portland Trailblazers trade away Noah Vonleh to the Chicago Bulls in cash considerations for the rights to center Milivan Rakovic. I like this trade. I think the Blazers did need a little bit more presence at center than that, but the Bulls also basically get a replacement for Mirotic. Maybe not as good of a talent, but still, he's a talent. And then another 3-team trade. Another interesting one for sure. The New York Knicks get guard Emmanuel Mudiay, who I honestly thought was going to be not a Nugget for life, but a Nugget for at least a couple more years. But he's not. Denver Nuggets get a guard, Devin Harris, a 2018 second-round pick, which will be the worst of the LA Clippers and Knicks. Most likely Knicks. And the Dallas Mavericks get forward Doug McDermott, a future second-round pick from Denver via Portland. Now, what I like about this one is, I don't know. I don't think I like any of this. I don't get the point of New York giving up what they gave up, and they didn't really get anything. To me, this was just a changing of the guards. Hey, this guy's not really working out here as much. Get a couple of draft picks. The one who supposedly benefit the most, the best talent right here, is Emmanuel Mudiay. I think the Knicks do get a solid guard here, but with no Porzingis for the rest of the year, he'll have to play out his deal, see if it fits. If not, oh well. Nobody really loses too much here, even with the second round picks in here, where the Knicks or LA Clippers would be picking. The Denver Nuggets don't really get too much there. It's definitely interesting. One thing that shocked me is Alfred Payton, point guard of the Orlando Magic, got traded to the Phoenix Suns. Now, if he becomes a starting point guard there and gets paired with Devin Booker, this gives them a good young guard presence together. Payton, so help me God, needs to cut his hair. I have never seen anybody get their own hair block themselves from a shot twice in one season. I'm not saying I'm against anybody's hairstyle. His hairstyle is his own, but when it's affecting your basketball play because it's in your eyes, you just gotta trim it or keep it like contained a little bit when you're on the court, something like that, man. But to give up a young guard like that for only a second round pick meant that Orlando was desperate to get him out of there. And it really does show a lot. And the New Orleans Pelicans trade Rashad Vaughn. Well, trade for Rashad Vaughn and they give up Dante Cunningham. So they didn't really need Cunningham as much where they got Mirotic. And getting Rashad Vaughn does give them a solid guard presence that I'm not going to say they've been lacking, but more depth, I should say at least, which is nice. And you guys, let me know what was your favorite trade of the day. Let me know what you think of the big trades from the Cavaliers. And if your team was inactive or not, let me know if there was someone you wish you would have traded for or pushed. I kind of wish that the Celtics would have traded for like an Anthony Davis type, but I know in my heart it would have cost us a first round pick from the Lakers or whatever that pick was. And it would have cost us like a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, which would have been kind of heartbreaking, so I kind of understand that. But anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Let's keep trading. Peace.